The pineal gland, known in yogic terminology as amruta, releases a sweetness that permeates every part of your being when its secretion begins. It's not sexuality that limits it, but rather excessive identification with physicality. Enlarging it too much can lead to mental perversion, while trying to suppress it can intensify your inner perversion. Remember the 92-year-old man who asked the doctor about his sexual well-being? The mind, by its nature, is inclined to think or dream of what you try to escape from. Sex can be a means to explore pleasure or build bonds, but it's not the only way to feel close. Body identification has given rise to a society that associates relationships exclusively with the physical aspect, ignoring other forms of deep connection. Yogic practices seek to activate the pineal gland, leading to an inner sweetness that renders external pleasures mundane. Yogis, sitting in meditation, do not reject pleasure but seek something higher. The pineal gland, when activated, induces a state of bliss and ecstasy that transcends the physical. Amruta, or elixir of life, calms the entire system when a drop of it spreads within you. This state of extreme pleasure manifests when you are in harmony with yourself, soaring above the desperations of the mind and body. Sexuality, if enlarged beyond measure, becomes a barrier to your spiritual growth. However, it is not necessary to suppress it, but rather to find an internal balance that allows you to channel your energies wisely. Human beings are a limited amount of energy. You must decide how to distribute it without relying on others for your pleasure. Reflecting on the essence of pleasure and love, you understand that dependence on another person only leads to disappointments. Authentic relationships arise when you share your inner ecstasy without expecting anything in return. By freeing yourself from superficial needs, you honor other human beings in a deeper and more meaningful way. In this journey towards awareness, embrace your biology without letting it be a constraint on your spiritual growth. Let the inner amruta guide your path, leading you towards a joy that is not dependent on external circumstances. Now, simply being with people is no longer an opportunity to extract pleasure from them. It is rather an experience of shared existence. It is only in this space of simple presence that love can genuinely flourish. Otherwise, it becomes just a trick of open sesame. When you say "I love you," it doesn't matter if you believe it at that moment. Instead, you open a gateway to many possibilities. Open sesame means that doors open, that multiple opportunities emerge. This way of understanding relationships is neither right nor wrong. It's simply how many people lead their lives. However, by constantly pursuing external pleasure, one loses the true joy of existing in a state of inner ecstasy. If trapped in the constant search for what one can get from others, it leads to a kind of trap, masked as a love story but actually a deception. Instead, when intrinsically joyful, being with others becomes an opportunity to share this joy, rather than trying to get something from them. Sexuality itself is not what limits this experience of joy. It is rather excessive identification with the physical body that becomes the barrier. So, it's not sexuality itself that becomes a barrier, but rather excessive attachment to the body. This concept can be distorted by various cultural and religious influences, leading to a kind of repression or exaggeration without reason. Sexuality has its role in human life, but when enlarged beyond measure, it can lead to perversion of the mind. On the other hand, trying to completely eliminate sexuality can lead to a kind of equally harmful repressive reaction. In reality, everything in life is an expression of vital energy, which can be channeled in different ways. Just as one decides how to manage their time and money, it's important to decide how to manage inner energy as well. Finding a balance between various aspects of life, including sexuality, is crucial for living fully and in harmony with oneself and others. It's not about denying or suppressing certain aspects of one's nature, but rather consciously integrating them into one's existence. The true purpose of life is not to seek pleasure or fulfillment through others, but rather to discover the inner joy that is independent of external circumstances. When one is able to find this joy within oneself, relationships with others become an opportunity to share this state of bliss, rather than desperately trying to fulfill egoic needs. In this space of inner awareness, love becomes a dance of sharing and compassion, free from dependencies and expectations. Therefore, instead of constantly seeking external gratification, it's important to turn inward and discover the infinite source of joy that resides deep within one's being. When rooted in this inner awareness, one realizes that true happiness does not depend on any external circumstance or any other person, but is intrinsic to our deepest nature. Finding inner joy means freeing oneself from dependence on external pleasures and discovering the infinite richness that resides at the core of our being. It is only when one connects with this source of bliss that they can truly love others authentically and selflessly, without expecting anything in return. If the words have resonated within you, join our community by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Share this experience with others so that they can benefit from these positive vibes. Thank you for joining this journey with me.